Hi there, my name's Ameera Conrad. I'm a theatre maker, writer, performer and director from Cape Town, and I'm coming to you from London in the United Kingdom. So today I'm going to be teaching you about playmaking, and in my opinion, playmaking comes down into three separate parts. The first part is the questioning stage. The second stage is the playing or the making stage, and the third stage is the solidifying stage. So first up, I'm going to talk you through stage one, which is the questioning stage. So for the questioning stage, which is the first stage of your playmaking, you do exactly what it's called. You question. You always question yourself, you question your ideas, and you find the answers, and sometimes even more questions during your research section. So the first part of it is asking yourself how to pick an idea, which seems like an impossible task, but there's lots of different ways to come to your central idea for your play. One of the ways is to look inside yourself, really introspect, and ask yourself, what are the things that I feel very passionately about? What are the things that I could talk about for hours? For some of you, it might be sports. For some of you, it might be political stuff. For some of you, it might be your own life story or the life stories of people around you. All of these things are absolutely things that you can make a play about. So while you're questioning yourself, ask yourself three very important questions. Why me? Why now? And why this play? And those three questions are going to push you through all of the work that you're going to be doing in all of this playmaking period. So as you're asking yourself questions throughout this entire process, you want to be really looking at the world around you. You want to be reading lots of things. You want to be listening to lots of different kinds of music. You want to be watching the news, reading books, poetry, going to art galleries, looking around the world and seeing what about it sparks a flame inside of you that you need to pursue, or what makes you question things that you want to find the answers to. Once you've found a general idea of what it could be that could spark your interest, you're going to move into the next stage of this, which is called figuring out the world of the play. I'll give you an example. A play that I worked on recently was called Towers, and it was done by the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. And the idea actually came to me in a dream, funnily enough. So ideas can come to you from anywhere. I realized that I'd been dreaming about trees and buildings, and I wanted to do something about gentrification. And then I started reading in the news about a tragedy that had happened a few years ago called Grenfell, which was specific to London. But at the same time, I was reading about the forced removals in Woodstock and Buka, which was happening in Cape Town. And I was trying to find a way to make all these things coexist. So I started questioning, what is the world of the play? When you're wondering what the world of the play is, there are a couple of specific things that you can think about. Sometimes the answer will be quite easy, and sometimes it'll be quite difficult. One of the first things is, where specifically is the play set? Is it in London? Is it in Cape Town? Is it on a new planet that you've just made up? Is the physical location a real place or an imagined place? And once you're figuring that out, and as you're understanding what that might mean to the play, you can also at the same time start to ask yourself, what time period is it set in? Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Is it where we presently are? So for Towers, we decided that it would be predominantly set in London because the school that was being made for was in London and all the students were living in that area. And we decided that the time period would be an imagined present. So present day, 2019, I think it was, but with imagined characters and imagined people in a general imagined area of London. So we've got that information, and with that information, you can move into researching the play. Everybody thinks that playmaking is just about coming up with things and performing and making things up, but a lot of research actually goes into it. And once you've got your time and your location, you can ask yourself questions about those things. Who are the people that would have existed at the time? What did they look like? What were they wearing? What kind of music were they listening to? Really become a historian and ask yourself really deep questions, a lot of questions about that time period and about the place. Now, if you're making up something completely different, you can go and come up with whatever you want, but things have to be rooted in some way in reality. So if you're coming up with an alien planet that you're going to name Planet Zorp or whatever. Ask yourself what it is that this planet's history might be made up of. Where would these people have come from? Are they from the planet originally? What other planets exist in the solar system? What is their atmosphere like? All of these things can really give you specifics about what this piece could be. When you're working in a group with other people, a good way to share the workload is to ask each other questions and spread the research topics around. So if you're particularly interested in music and you're making a Shakespeare play, you could decide that you're going to be the one who looks at what the music was that people would have listened to during Shakespeare's time. If somebody else in your group is particularly interested in clothing and costumes, they should look at what people were wearing and the food that they were eating and the kinds of things that was happening in a time historically. Find the thing that really makes you passionate when you're working in a group and share that information with everyone else. Ask each other questions, keep everything, teach each other. Every piece of information that you gather, even if it doesn't seem like it's useful yet, it's going to be useful at some point. So what I like to do is I like to keep everything all together, and I like to come up with little mind maps, and I like to stick them all over the walls of my rehearsal rooms, because it's really important that if in the middle of a rehearsal you go, oh gosh, what is that thing? I remember learning about it. It's always there on the walls for you to refer to. During the research phase, you're obviously asking yourself the questions, who, what, where, and when. How is the question that we're going to save for later. So who lives in this world? What is this world? Where is it? And what is the time period? Those are the 4 major questions that are going to sit at the heart of this first stage.